WJBW is made possible by sausage. Stick one in your mouth.
I hear a little bit of feedback in the mic.
These charges are not mine.
Today's episode of the JB Webb Show is sponsored by Ashtray.
Maybe embellishing.
All right, I'm walking down the street now. I'm walking live here on the street. I'm going to see who I can find.
I need to hear the tambourine and the...
Do you want me to do the JB Webb Show? Oh, I spit on you.
You are not part of the conversation.
Do you? Do you really?
Thank you for holding, Jamie.
And the listening.
Thank you for holding, Jamie.
Definitely a day job I don't complain about.
Gotta find out what's going on, what you're doing, what you're intending to do.
Love Shack, baby!
Juggernaut of rock action.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back. WJBW Network's proud to present the JB Webb Show. It is myself, JB Webb, and right over there, the Reverend.
It's
How the
me.
heck you doing,
What's
buddy?
up?
Another fine edition. This is our last live remote on the summer tour.
Our summer tour. Dude,
we really...
what a tour
we have
this
a
has
great
been.
setup. Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, we've been at Nora's Sugar Shack. We've been at Maxine's on Shine. We've been at Kush Ultra Lounge. Where were we last week?
Yeah, that's right. Last week we were in the Milk District.
That's right. We were at Space Bar and at Apogee Gifts.
Apogee Gifts, that's right.
Gifts, yeah. Yeah.
This week we are here live inside of the Flex space for Factur. Factur,
yeah.
That's Factur.
Factur.
That's right. And we're sitting here with Keith. Thank you so much for
Keith
being
Evan.
so accommodating. Appreciate it. We're going to get into a healthy chat with him.
Absolutely.
I think it's important to know that Factur is a membership-based community center, and a lot of what's great about that is they give you the ability to kind of do different things within that environment. So whether it's
we'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah,
I mean, there's all kinds
whether
of
it's
things.
woodworking, metal shop, just an incredible space. So we're
3D
privileged,
printing,
so happy to be here.
Anything you can imagine. I mean, like if it's creative, it's Factur for real. I mean, like it's got the whole spectrum of creativity, if you will, and like it's a community. We'll talk more about it with Keith about what it really is, but it's an amazing concept, and it's been really successful, and I'm proud to even.
And it's very unique to the Ivanhoe district here, so I think a lot of the times you see...
Dude, I think it's unique to almost any district, really.
Of a concept Factur in general. So FACTUR.org, is that right? Factur.org, I think?
Correct.
Yeah, well, we're going to get into a chat with Keith, probably bust out. Now, keep in mind, there's a part 2 of this edition. We're going to take our gear, walk over to the back of the hideaway, and try to do a little live session from whoever... and from the back of the hideaway in true spirit there. But again, we want to encourage people, go check out all of these businesses that we've been talking to over the last 5 weeks. Maxine's on Shine, Nora's Sugar Shack right up the road. They do something every Tuesday night. Kush Ultra Lounge,
Space
downtown
Bar.
Orlando. Space Bar, Apogee Gifts, of course. Tasty Tuesday every week.
Tuesday, yeah. Which
we encourage people, go check them out. Get involved. Be available for what's going on in your community, because it's easy to sit in your house and just watch Netflix for hours and binge on a damn Ozark or something. Yeah, right. It's so easy to do that, but getting involved and talking with your fellow man, your people out there in the community, that's what we endorse and support. The Reverend, how the hell you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing really good, man. Thanks for asking. It's good to be back here. And something else that I want to address on this episode at some point is JB, let's talk about this for a quick second. How long have you been doing? When was your first podcast? Do you remember the date of your first podcast?
Officially, and thanks for asking that. Officially, we launched in 2010, July 13th.
Wow!
Right through YouTube. Created
7 years ago.
Yep.
Right.
That's right.
And let me say something for the people that have been listening. JB has he does this all on his own dime. He pays for. I don't even know what you got to pay for.
That microphone you're talking to.
With the microphone, the headphones we're listening to,
it's a monthly,
the
Spreaker, the infrastructure.
Okay,
there you go.
So it's quite a cost coming out of your own pocket, and all we do on this show is kind of showcase the talent that's here in Orlando, and that's all you've ever done.
Well, yeah, and across the country too. I guess it kind of goes without saying that there's tons of talented people everywhere, and because of my connections to Daytona, where I grew up, I started to help the cross-pollination of Daytona to Orlando. So that was a big thing, kind of people finding out, and that was back in 2010.
Right. So, JB, the reason I'm even bringing this up is because, lately you've come upon, little hard times, like we all do. And, this is something that you fund completely out of your own pocket. And, we showcase all these talented, locations and artists and creatives, here in Orlando. And, I'm not one to, ask for handout. It's not really.
You gotta humble yourself, I know.
Yeah. And it's not about that.
I'll
but
tell you what.
You need a little help now.
Well, yesterday I did reach out, kind of after an incident occurred. I, thought somebody was going to be there for me, and they weren't. And then I kind of did a childish cry out on Facebook, and people actually reacted. So to me, it warmed my heart, and they said, "No, keep doing what you're doing. We support you. Here's $10."
Right.
For me, right now, that goes a long way. So thank you, everyone out there that supported me in that little effort. Said, "Nope, what you're doing is great. Keep doing it." So, if I was looking at this like a business, it would be a lot different. We'd have a surety. There would be funding. Things would be different. But it's not a business. It's all really out of love.
We'd ask, the locations, maybe, possibly, whatever. It's really not about that. But ultimately, it's coming out of your pocket, and you need a little help right now.
Well, yeah, and people ponied up and did that, but people can always go check out WJBWnetworks.com. Look at our latest blog posts there, and there's a way to donate, and I'll set up a site where people can donate and help out if they want to do that. So, but thanks for bringing attention to that, Rev.
You have, if you think about it, since 2010, 7 years ago, the hours. Because you also do
the time.
Circadian Cast.
And the Circadian Cast.
You do a lot, dude. And it's really, that's why I'm part of this, is because, I'm grateful for you, sharing to the community.
Thank you, brother.
What you do?
Thank you.
You keep acting like you need to wrap this up.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so now everybody's.
Now I sound like sexy.
Okay,
Keith.
back up there. Look at sexy Keith. All right, look back up. We got the omnidirectional.
We got Keith over
pump.
here, though. He's a sexy motherfucker.
Okay. All right. Well, for our little intro, wanted to make sure we had good sound on that. So
yes,
we don't want to peak the mic. We don't want to peak the mic.
We don't want to peak the mic, but we want to peak the funding going on with the JB Rev Show and the JB Web Network. Because, there's how many other shows that you do? The Circadian Cast.
Circadian Cast, Breaking News Badly, and this program. So
and you back and before, you used to do eating grits and grinning?
Right, okay. Yeah, sinning and grits on Sunday morning. No, that was a program, that was a temporary, that was actually like a year and a half, and that was with Bubba Whoop-Ass Wilson, I remember. Yep. So, there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of good vibes that we've provided and put out.
So that being
help
said,
that community.
I'm going to go
You're
ahead and
give
throw
me
this out there.
your car.
No, but yesterday, I mean, you were actually, it was the day before yesterday, you were really down, and you were even thinking, man, I don't know if we're going to do this Tuesday. And,
Right.
You know, and it's like, I mean, this is a kind of a history of an Orlando history, what you're doing. And it's, you know, you're kind of a pillar of the community, dude. I mean, you showcase awesome talent. And, I mean, I wouldn't be here, you know, for nothing if it wasn't for something. You know what I mean?
And I appreciate your contributions because
I wish I could contribute more, to be honest with you.
You've been bringing on people that we interview, and we're going to get to a real healthy interview with Keith over here.
I'm looking forward to
Keith Conklin. And we're sitting inside of the Flex space of Factur
Factur.
here. And this is exactly what we do. This place is incredible.
It's dope,
a huge
man.
kind of area here.
The woodworking in here is
there's
like
an oversized
we like to call
Star
it a beautiful
Wars
palette of an event space, so to speak.
I definitely want to just play one Star Wars game, Keith. You know? I mean, that thing is huge.
It's the biggest arcade game maybe
ever.
Yeah,
that's true. So here we are at Factur. The Flex at Factur.
This is the Factur Flex space. Yeah,
Factur. I like how the flex, like, you know, like flexing a muscle, kind of.
No, flex meaning, you know, we can do all kinds of different things in here. We're not just an event space. We can host classroom style events for children.
Right.
We partner with the Orlando Science Center for stuff.
Wow.
All the way to just hosting membership driven events, whether it's a birthday party. We've had market space stuff. I mean, from A to Z, anything you can imagine where you can use this space for, that's where Flex comes from.
Well, hey, you know, since we're already talking to Keith, let's just go ahead and continue talking to Keith because, I mean, I got to say, when I first came in here and met you, Keith, this is the first time I've ever met you, I was really impressed, and you started talking to me, and my eyes kind of, you know, widened, and I had to stop you, and I said, you know what, I want to save this for the show. Because, I mean, you had so much to tell, and I want to keep that enthusiasm of what you were saying, you know. So you've been here for a couple years now, right?
Yep. We moved to Orlando July 2 years ago, so just over 2 years. Came out here from Los Angeles, where I was born and raised. And
wow. All right.
My wife works for Disney, and obviously the mouse opened up his doors and brought some opportunities for her. So... like saying, you know, we were out here on a family vacation and met a realtor, found a home, put an offer down. It was accepted, and we were on our way.
Nice.
So now we're here.
Nice. So that being said, Keith, I mean, you've been a DJ, or you are a DJ.
Well, I've been a DJ for 20 years, touring for the past 16 years, and I grew up in LA in the underground deep house scene. And, went to school and just really DJ'd for a hobby. I was collecting records for about 6 years. Never really even considered myself a DJ.
Right.
But just did it for the love. And then after I got out of school, and I traveled to Venezuela for a couple years, and I was DJing out there. I bought some turntables out there and had all my music equipment back in LA in storage. So I was traveling to Europe and collecting more vinyl. And anyways, by the time I left Venezuela and came back home, it was kind of like a calling. I had my degree, wasn't sure what to do, and just went full force in my passion. So ended up moving to Las Vegas, and
that's what I was going to say, dude. I knew you were the real deal when I was asking, I was looking you up on Facebook and saw that David Cohen is a friend of yours, who is the owner of Utopia, and right then I was like, all right, this guy's the real deal.
Yeah,
right here.
David's a good friend. He actually, obviously, he owned the legendary club Utopia, which was probably the pioneering, groundbreaking club of Las Vegas.
Just for people who don't know, Utopia was the only freestanding club in all of Las Vegas.
Correct.
So that meaning any other club was part of a casino or a hotel. Utopia was all on its own.
It was, and it was there before all the casinos even decided to open a nightclub. And,
exactly.
It was the only place that was hosting underground music, primarily electronic music.
Right.
And Deep House was on the patio, and it was kind of where everybody kind of gathered. And it was more community-based, and music was a more downbeat. And we also...
Sorry about that.
Sorry, that's okay. He
JB
showed me
is
my
over here
picture, and I got
distracting us.
sidetracked.
Taking everybody's picture. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that's how I know David. He's been good to me. I was one of the residents there for years, and my career took off in Vegas, and I was able to do all kinds of stuff for the community.
That's amazing. I mean, because not to go back to David, but I mean, to have a freestanding club, and like you said before, anyone was doing clubs. And right now, Vegas, it's all nightclubs. I mean, it's like an EDM explosion, and it's
the mecca now, I would say, even past Ibiza. I mean, it's just
because
turned into a
it's all year,
it's
and Ibiza is like the summer.
It's all year, it's every day, it never slows down.
Right,
the casino's always air conditioned, so
yeah, absolutely, man.
And that's a nice thing, I guess. Besides the tie with the DJ thing, kind of, did you get into kind of what brought you into Factur?
Basically, funny short story. I was going to Burning Man, and the first time I went to Burning Man, I was searching for a leather cuff, and I was in Hollywood, and I went into a couple thrift stores looking, and couldn't find anything, and finally found this one place. It was this vintage store. It had this glass case in the back of the store, literally, and it was like, the case was dirty, dusted. They weren't showcasing anything out of there. It was just full of junk. And I looked in it, and I see a couple cuffs that I really liked, and so I'd asked the guy, "Hey, can I look at these?" And he's like, "You really want those?" I'm like, "Can I at least look at them?"
Yeah,
right.
And so he pulled them out. There's two in particular, and I loved them. They had been worn, they were used, they weren't nothing new or pretty, cute about it. It was just these leather worn cuffs that I liked. And I thought they'd be perfect for me at Burning Man. So I bought them, and I brought them to Burning Man and wore them nonstop. And it was the weirdest thing. It was like, I can't tell you how many compliments I got on this one cuff. And it was like over and over. And it wasn't women, it was men. And it was just so
and you
much.
loved that, didn't you?
Yeah, it was nice.
Just kidding.
But, I didn't really think much of it then. And then one of the events that I was DJing at was a festival in Mexico that I co-produced called Mi Casa Su Casa. And when I wore it out there as well, and same kind of response. It was just and it was men again. Some women compliment it, but so I don't know what made me think that I could do it, but I just was like, man, I want to make these things, you know. 'Cause I always look for cuffs and I could never find them. So, anyways, one thing led to another. I went home and was inspired by that and got on YouTube where to get leather products, how to do stuff, and just started self-teaching myself everything and figured it out, found all the places in LA, looked for all the hardware, all the hides that I wanted, and I started putting some money into it and just started cutting cuffs up and made a whole bunch of them. And then I realized that they weren't very good, so I wanted to get more into it, and so I started looking at like companies like Hermès or all these other high-end companies at their cuffs and how fine finished that their product was and how they were hand-sewn and all this stuff. So I found this master leather craftsman in Santa Monica who owns this place called the Sewing Arts, and he asked me to send my stuff, and he looked at it, and he's like, okay, I'll take you in and as an apprentice, and he takes a couple people at a time. So it was me and this other girl he chose for this 6-week class, and went in and he taught me how to fine finish my leather as far as cuffs are going.
Is that the tanning process, or am I wrong there?
There is a tanning process too.
But that's before you get it.
Yeah, before you can do it yourself. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways to do that, but you can get dyed hides in any color you can imagine. But anyways, I learned all these skills, and I just started to make really, really cool stuff. And I've been doing it as a hobby forever. I've done some shows, and so that's how I got into the leather part.
Right on.
So from the leather part,
what's the name of that my company?
Ross. R-A-S Shepherd.
R-A-S.
Ross Shepherd.
Shepherd.
Ross Shepherd. And you can find me on Instagram for under that Ross Shepherd.
Okay.
And it's just, and I have a website. It's rossshepherd.com.
There we go.
Again, it's just something I really don't consider it a company. It's really just a passion and a hobby that case I was to sell things or you got to that level, I wanted to make sure it was legit. So it is set up for a company, but I really just call it a hobby. But regardless of that, that's what got me. I have a friend that knew Melissa, who is the wife of the owner, Doug.
Doug, yeah.
And
or was.
And so when my friend Kim's like, you got to meet her, you just go out there because they have this place. It's a maker space that there's a leather. I think they do leather there. You should call them. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh, all right, I'll go check it out. So me and my wife, we went down here and we actually did meet Melissa, but we came and got a tour of the space, and I was just really blown away.
Who gave you the tour? Was it Doug?
No, Doug wasn't. I didn't meet Doug at the time.
Okay.
It was just a couple guys that were in there because it's open 24 hours. So
maybe was it Tom Wynn? Do you know Tom? Have you met him?
I'll be honest, I really don't know who.
No worries. Anyways, go on.
I couldn't tell you because from that moment, I didn't come back here for a year.
Okay.
And then they did an event here where in this flex space where they just gotten it, and we came to the event, and I met Melissa that night. And that's where everything kind of sprung from. So it got me more kind of interested, more excited about the place. I love the warehouse that they had. And
let's talk about that. I mean, this space is beautiful.
The space is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very unique, one-of-a-kind warehouse.
Yeah.
You don't just find in any city I've been. I mean, there's a lot of warehouses out there, but nothing that's got the final touches to it that this one has.
Like, it's cool as far as just being cool, but AC, I mean, it's here.
We got AC. We got a handcrafted wood bar that was made in the makerspace.
Yeah,
the walls have all
everything
been completed.
And so let's peel back and talk about it. You said things were made at makerspace, right? So
correct.
That's just a little bit up the road. Now these two locations are in between the actual Factur location, and this is the flex space, and hideaways in the middle.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the Factur itself. So you were kind of going into a story, I think, where you were telling us a little bit about how you got caught up, but we'd love to hear an experience like yours, because I think it gives a good example to people out there that, hey, if you've been looking around, a little bit of guidance, a little bit of direction can really ignite your passion. And I think that's what's important about Factur is they are very much community minded. So if you have concepts and ideas, get involved. Go to factur.org and learn a little bit. But let's get back into Keith's story a little bit. So Ross, what was it? Ross Shepherd is the brand. RossShepherd.com.
That's correct. RossShepherd.com and at Ross Shepherd. And it's SHEPHERD.
Okay.
So basically what Factur is a fabrication laboratory, maker, co-working, and event space that we're in. We're located right here in the Ivanhoe Village. Obviously, you touched base on how community-driven it is.
Right.
We're basically a member-driven fabrication laboratory and maker space that serves as a creative home in which people work, learn, and build a community rooted in science, art, and technology.
Awesome.
We have everything in there. I mean, it's not hard to be inspired there. I walked in and I was blown away. I mean, from the woodwork, there's, industrial CNC machines.
See, that's incredible.
Incredible. There's welding. There's glass. We have an in-house glass blower that does glass blowing. We have people that restore video games. We have silver melting machines where you can make jewelry, silver jewelry. We have laser printing. We have 3D printing.
Really?
There's a wood turning class. So all these different elements are inside of the makerspace, and we're just full of a collaborative of members that come in, and there's a fee that they pay, whether it's a monthly membership or a yearly membership, and you can use a space at 24 hours a day. You get your own code. You can come in. You can work at 3 a.m. if you want. You can work on your project. So
totally awesome. And they even have a podcast station, which unfortunately,
like a little studio.
Yeah, right. And which is being used tonight between 7 and 9.
Yeah.
So we're not able to be in that, which is fine because
okay.
part of our thing, Keith, just so you know, is we unlike a lot of podcasts, we don't edit anything. It's just what we do goes out there live, you know? So
Well, we broadcast live, and so that's why it's important to have a good setup like this. And I want to keep focused on, kind of Factur, and what they've done really in the community is give this springboard to the concept of, hey, if you're a craftsman, if you're, looking to sew, something as simple as that, one of these old school trades that the world was built on, which are kind of going by the wayside, you can come and get involved at Factur, pay a little bit of fee. Now, you were going into talking about the memberships. At the different levels of the membership, I think you get access to different things. Is that right?
Well,
do you know about that?
There's obviously Doug is going to be the owners. Any of your questions, you can call Factur,
Right.
and they'll be able to really kind of dial you in. But obviously, there's different things you can get involved in.
Well, there's different levels, depending on your interests.
Correct, and what materials are being used and all that stuff. But just to come in and use all of our stuff, you obviously need to be trained on anything first to make sure you know what you're doing. But there will always be somebody there to train you. And
see, that's great.
Yeah, and all the members are super supportive. So there's always someone that's going to be in charge of one part of the makerspace, and you can get involved to connect with them, and they can teach you how to start honing your skills on those certain machines.
Right, because a lot of these pieces of equipment, you have to have safety regulations, things like that. So procedures you have to follow. So
sure.
In saying all of that. And I don't want to get too kludgy going back and forth, but I did want to kind of get back to your story in that you said, you started doing this, leather cuffs. How integral was the experience with Factur? I kind of want to go back to a little bit of that and then kind of move forward from there.
Well, I think,
and then maybe we'll talk about some DJ stuff.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
I mean, it was more about just timing and coming here and connecting with people, because I don't really know that many people here. Obviously, we have a mutual friend in Dave.
Yeah.
But I when I came here, it was more about just getting involved and maybe learning some of the newer things besides my leather, because I have my own workshop. But in the process of that, once I became a member, they knew my background as being a DJ and doing events, and they had acquired this space. So we met and had a really good long meeting about their needs, and I was able to help them because of my background as an event producer and all. I've done all of that and know how to do it. So they asked me to take over the space, and so that they literally made me the event director of the Flex space to try to start driving events in here to help support the makerspace, because as you can see, it's all volunteer based.
Right.
There's not like anyone's getting rich. It's Doug has put his heart, soul, and every dollar he has into it. So he needs to find ways to help monetarily support Factur to keep its growth and survival. In essence. So
absolutely.
Well, and we want to encourage our listeners, whether you're amongst the few of you hanging out with us right now, or you're listening to this back on replay, is factur.org, factur.org. Go to that website. factu.org. Go to that website.
You know where that's from, right?
Okay, go to that website. Find out.
It's a Howard Stern reference with NBC.
Thanks for so valuable. Thanks for interrupting me with that. All right. Well, we got this one little microphone here. I'd cut you off if we were in the studio.
You would not.
But
I would
we
just
want to
cut you.
Okay, come on. We want to encourage people.
Cut you.
Okay, man. All right, man. All right. Okay. All right.
That flesh.
Reverend, take it easy.
Ouch.
Factur.org, learn, create, and share together. There's several different options for membership, but I like to tell people, hey, reach out, make a phone call, ask some questions, especially about this great space that's in here. Now, how big? Let's talk a little bit about this space.
How many people
specifically? Because then I want to kind of move over into a little bit of your background in DJ stuff.
Sure. This space is a 3,000 square foot warehouse. Basically, there's about 2,400 in standing room. If anyone wants to book it, they can call 909-851-4054 and just ask for me. Again, my name's Keith Conklin. besides that, we're just we have the special thing I think about this place is it's like I said before, it's a palette, and you can come in whether you're a corporate company, you want to do corporate outings. We can incorporate makerspace stuff, so we can bring a glass blower in here.
Canvas.
It's a blank canvas.
Canvas.
We could put a wood turning demonstration in here, whatever. Any of the makerspace incorporated stuff or other art stuff that they want to bring in, and we can have catering here. We have a bar built if they want to do that. And also what's great, obviously in the summers it's a little tougher, but when the weather cools down, we have about 3,000 square foot outdoor access
Outside,
as well.
right.
Wow.
So we could set up tents out there. We put food trucks out there. Anything you can imagine to, including your event, we have that space accessible. And of course, we're in Ivanhoe Village, so you have all this cool stuff around us.
Yeah, it's such a great location because there's people here that I guess subscribe to the work hard, play hard mentality.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, and it's very neighborhood feel. A lot of small business owners. The beginning of our summer tour, we started up at Nora's Sugar Shack. So I love the fact that we're ending right down here, just right down the road a little bit. And this is our hashtag, my own private Ivanhoe. Why are you talking so slow? Are you okay? This is all right.
It is, and it's a special area. I mean, it's very progressive. There's a giant LGBT community here. There's a lot of artists here. There's a lot of musicians. You have breweries.
Right across the street, we got the venue, which Blue runs.
It's just a special area. I think it's a very one of those pockets of Orlando that I think is up and coming. It's been here. It's going to get more popular. They have a lot of plans across the street.
Mesa 21 right down the road there.
I mean, it's endless. There's bakeries and restaurants and bars and breweries
and it's right on the Orange. Is it Orange? Orange in Virginia. Is kind of where that begins.
And
then there's
in between
Antique
Mills.
Row.
And Mills is up, and then Orange is here, and we're in the center.
And there's the bodega down there. There's a lot of fun stuff to do walking.
This area, I mean, right now they're constructing like this big, huge condo.
Is that what's going on?
That's actually going to be a whole nother, how do you call it?
Building.
No, it's going to be...
like a pool?
No, there's going to be all kinds of restaurants and like a park area.
A complex.
Right. It's going to be a complex.
But they're also making like a big condo.
Well, I think eventually all this is going to be condos. So
not right here?
Right here, yeah.
So
from what I've been told, like 4 or 5 years from now.
They're eyeballing this land.
So if you want to rent the space, you need to do it in the next couple of years.
We gotta hurry it up.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. And we appreciate the fact we've been able to chat with Keith Conklin, entertainment director. Is that right? Entertainment director for Factur.org. If you want to book this space, we suggest you call 909-851-4054. I'm looking at a wood burn sign right there. They do that here?
Yeah, we built that right there.
You
I actually did that myself here next door.
Oh, you did that while
in one of the shops
the
they had set up. So,
it's a laser printer.
Exactly.
Etching,
set that shit up, man. I made that shit on fire.
Yeah.
Look how beautiful that is.
All right. Well, we appreciate your hospitality. We're going to bust away to a little song. Maybe we'll come back and talk with you a little bit. We'll do a little DJ talk, a little deep house dish or something.
Let's talk about it.
Anyway, dig it. It's WJBW Networks.com.
JB Rev Show.
Listen to some music.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're back here at the JB Rev Show. We're here at the Flex
Okay.
of Factur.
That's where you go over into the red. Be
Well,
careful
you
there.
know,
All right.
this-
you
this-
don't have
this-
to get that close
I
onto this
gotta
microphone.
get-
And furthermore,
I
you
gotta
don't
get
have to talk that
close,
loud.
man.
Okay. If you're
Tell you
closer,
what.
you talk lower. Okay? The closer you are, the
me tell
lower
you
you talk.
something.
Okay, not now.
We're here with Keith.
Now he's just... No. Are
Keith
you
is a
okay?
cool motherfucker. Yeah, I'm all right, man. I'm having a good time.
Keith is a cool guy, and that's I wanted to
Keith's
come back.
watching football.
I wanted to come
It
back.
hadn't even started yet. He's watching football.
I'm a junkie, so
Well,
Yeah. Oh, see, that's crazy. You know, so Keith, we're gonna jump into you know, your DJing skills, right? So, what primarily what do you what do you
Have
play?
you spun around here in a little while? You still do it at home, or give us
I
kind
only
of where you're
play
at
at
right
Sandwich Bar, but
Oh, cool.
But
Yeah?
I've been, like I said before, I've been in the deep house community almost my whole life. It was
All right.
my career was for the last 20 years. Like I said, I've been touring for the last 16 and playing
Right on.
all over the country and internationally. But I, just got to a point where I love it. It's my passion.
You grew up.
But I'm just getting older. We're trying to have a family, and I'm not saying I'll never ever be not a part of it. I
Right.
just, as a
Why
daily
would-
grind,
Yeah.
I'm looking for other things at this time in my life. But
So, yeah. That being said, what's some of your influences as far as like what you throw down?
well, like I said, I was always booked as a deep house guy. So the guys I grew up listening to were like Doc Martin,
There we go.
Mark Farina, Ocean Latte, Marcus Wyatt,
Right
guys
on.
like that, Louis Vega.
Nice.
There's a lot of the new school guys that I really like. I've done had guys like Soul Clap come out, and we've done all kinds of stuff with all kinds of artists and booked them
Nice.
and played with them. But
So let me ask you this: do you listen to all genres of music?
I do.
Good, because
yeah, everything. I listen to
I was
everything.
kind of setting you up for failure,
Yeah.
but I knew you wouldn't allow that.
Well, as far as
Only
a
because-
DJ, the thing was for me as a DJ, I was always a purist. So I wasn't your wedding DJ. I wasn't someone that would
Duh.
pick any gig. I was
Right.
and I didn't. My branding was all about that community, and so I didn't want to confuse people, especially my fan base, and
Right,
be
right.
playing a big club. And I'm not harshing anyone that does that because they can make a lot of money.
No.
And more people do that now, and rightfully so. But for me, it was about the love for that music, and that's why I even became a DJ. I never did Serato. I was always on vinyl, and I moved.
Awesome.
I moved obviously to USB and CD, but I was always that purist house guy that I grew
Right
up
on.
in the underground, and that's where I was from. So you learn principles in that, especially when you're young, and that kind of carried over to my career. And I just never steered from that, and maybe that was my downfall, only because monetarily it's tough to survive. But I did very well for a long time in Vegas, and was very fortunate. Was there at a good time. Was able to
Right.
travel the world.
So Vegas, you said I only know this because I asked you earlier, but you got there around 2000
I got there
at
in
Utopia,
2000. Yep,
and with David Cohen.
correct.
That I mean, it's crazy how the music has changed so much as far as the club music goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's almost before we say deep house. It was an underground thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing you would hear ever on the radio. Where now, as what's going on in the clubs in Vegas.
Well, that's more EDM. You don't ever want to say EDM, right? I mean, because that's not true to the
kids.
integrity.
I think the kids kind of drive popularity in music, and obviously the masses, and so all that big sound stuff has always been more for the commercial edge of electronic music. Whatever's selling bottles, whatever's selling tickets.
Exactly.
And deep house has always been that niche. Thing that's been kind of on the side, but always a driving force because it was there before everything else.
Right.
After disco. So, the BPMs changed with production, and so all these different subgenres were created out of it. And so,
Right.
it's just the evolution of electronic music in general.
Absolutely. It's kind of like any other genre, the way it evolves, know. However, I will say, with other genres, the evolution, like for instance, I am right now totally on the way here, driving here. I've been listening to Greta. Oh my God! Now I'm gonna
Van Susteren?
Oh my God! No, it's. I even sent you the link.
Yeah, I saw that. Greta and something. I saw that.
No,
Okay, let me
now I
pull
can't
it
even
up.
think of
Now,
it because it's so brand new to me. But it's like it's this new. I mean, it's not new, but like with a genre, there really shouldn't an evolution of a genre. Genres remain the same.
Exactly, I agree totally.
So when it turns turns into something else. Like, for instance, dubstep. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's still kind of considered EDM, if you will.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I've heard some of the shows at Burning Man. It's the only time I've actually experienced that, but it's a completely different world, a completely different sound, different vibe altogether. But it's EDM. It's
still
our electronic
EDM.
world.
That's
Sure.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So why I'm even bringing this up, Keith, is because with rock and roll, there's not it's
Right.
it's
It's not deep rock and roll.
or
Progressive rock and roll.
metal.
I mean, it's rock and roll. It's
Prog
and roll.
rock. I mean,
So
I mean, there's classic rock, so let's not forget about
right.
that. No,
That's good. So, but it's crazy how as we get older, because by the way, kids, that's what we do every day is get older.
Yeah.
Whether you want to or not. But seriously, as we get older, we learn more, and it's this whole.
Well, I guess too, kind of what you're saying. Anytime something gets overly commercialized or popular, it loses a little bit of its authenticity, unless it was designed to be pop music. There's people that do not. Oh, I'm going to write a pop song.
Yeah, it's completely true.
Then there's music that becomes popular, and it's because it has integrity. But then after,
and in the same sense, the people that are staying true to their genre per se. Aren't evolving into this,
They get left behind.
They do.
Yeah.
A lot of us. A lot of you do.
Yeah.
We do.
And
I can be a testament of that.
Here's the crazy thing. So, my good friend Kimball Collins, he was a hardcore trance DJ back in the day.
Sure.
And he's kind of, evolved into like a little more of like I don't even know how to describe this genre, but now the millennials are kind of grabbing hold of trance, and now trance. Right now, at this very moment, trance is kind of making a comeback, if you will.
Interesting.
Yeah, it really is interesting. The whole, it's all,
In saying that, I mean, at any given point, as a professional, anything, you have to kind of reinvent yourself. Yeah. Whether it's day by day or year by year,
stay true
or you
to
stay
yourself.
Yeah,
right.
like
we've interviewed Jen of Genitortures, and she's been doing the same thing, but she did augment that with a little bit of the steampunk stuff, kind of, different things that came along until people went, "Hey, this is cool again."
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's
but that's what's interesting.
It's kind of like. I have jeans from 20 years ago that are now coming back in style. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wearing those. People are like, whoa,
Umbros
those are fucking dope. Not my Chinkos. Chinkos haven't come back yet, but when they do, I'll be ready. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't have any of those.
We're speaking with Keith Conklin.
We are.
My DJ name was Keith Evan, and still is.
Keith Evan.
Yeah, that's what my brand was. So
Well, I'd love to kind of spark interest in what you do, and maybe get you out some local places. We were just in.
I have plenty. Trust me, I have plenty of people in the community that are constantly checking on me and asking me why am I not playing. I mean, I haven't taken a gig since last May. So,
wow.
It's been over a year.
It'd be great to hear you.
And
well, now you're
it's
married
the first
too,
break
right?
I've taken out of the music business, so it's been I can't say how it's been hard. But needed, and I needed to kind of step away because I love it, but my passion, it was just the work part of it, I think, overtook, and I just wasn't loving it the same, and I didn't want to feel that way. So I felt like, you know what, I haven't stepped away in 20 years. Maybe this is the time. And so that's what I've done. And I'm not saying I'm ever going to not be that guy again,
Right.
or
Exactly.
go
Right.
back to something, do another event, DJ again, or even tour again. But right now, I'm just taking a break.
Hey, man.
Well, good. Well, we thank you for letting us into
Keith. I mean, this has been it's been really nice being able to talk to you and you finding a space like this.
Yeah.
And like,
this space is incredible. It
It
is a
really
great
is.
DJ space as well.
Very cool.
Parties, events. Go to Factur, FACTUR.org. You can rent the space. We'll throw the number out there again. It's 909-851.
4054.
4054. There you go. Talking with Keith Kong. Any closing thoughts or sentiments? We'll bust into another song, kind of close it out for this little session. We're going to be live in the back of the Hideaway after this for about a half an hour. You want to come join us?
Oh,
over there,
sure.
Maybe?
I can
All
use
right.
a
Yeah,
Maybe
man,
so.
I'll buy you a beer.
Any closing thoughts or sentiments you want to? What's the best way for people to go find out about your cuffs? Because
They can go to rossshepard.com, or
Ross
they
Shepard.
can even just
And-
give me a call. Everyone's got my number now, so whoever's
So
listening.
Ross Shepard
okay,
is
so we threw it out there.
R-A.
That's your personal number?
That
oh,
is my
no.
personal
Ah,
phone.
I'm going to go in the bathroom and give you a call right
I
now.
get crank called all the time.
Hey, man. You ready to take a pee? You get what kind of room? Just kidding. Hey, Keith Evan.
Yeah,
Dude,
be good to each other.
And I
Be good to each other out
gotta
there.
give Doug a big shout out and a big
Doug
thank
Brown.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Doug Brown for having
Yeah.
you meet with us
Yeah.
because he's
My
a
pleasure.
very busy guy,
Yeah, he is
and he
busy.
wasn't able to join us tonight. And
He's a
you know,
father, so you know
he's
right
definitely
here.
a father,
His wife
a great
is traveling
father
right now. So.
Absolutely. So thank you, and Doug, thank you, Keith, for being here.
Yeah, thanks
very much
for having me.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it,
And we
guys.
want to encourage people to check out Factur and all the greatness that is here. We're inside of the Flex space, which is right on either side of Factur. And the Flex space, so you got the Hideaway right in the middle there. Got a little song, a little music for you, and then we'll be back with another little pop-up broadcast. This is our hashtag My Own Private Ivanhoe edition. Dig it.
People will rise.
WJBW.
The electronics are so predominant that people would really prefer that.